Hello my geeky crafters, and today I'm going to show you how to make a Hobbit Door charm on a flat back bezel charm. These are so much fun to make, and you can customize them any way you want. So you can have a green one, you can have a blue one, you can even have it where you mix the colors like a red and a black one. Any colors work. And they are so much fun to make, and you don't need too much materials. So I think today I will show you guys how to make the green Hobbit Door charm. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so for the items that you're going to need for this charm, you will need a flat back bezel charm. These are great to make many different types of charms with, so you'll need one of these. You will also need the clay for your charm as well. Now the best thing about this charm is you can pick any clay you want that works for you. So today I think I'm going to do a green door. So I have my green emerald color clay, and then I have all the different colors that I want to use for my moss. So we have our green, we have a yellow, a purple, and all the other colors there. We also are going to use a granite clay. This is perfect for rocks and stuff like that for your charm, so you can do that as well. We have our brown clay, so you can mix this and it can look like wood, and you can put that around your door. And then lastly, we have our bronze clay, which is really good to use for a door handle or something for your charm. Then you're going to need your translucent liquid clay. Now I like to use translucent clay just because if it goes over the rim or I overfill it, it won't show as much on your actual charm. So I use a little bit on the back of the charm, and it helps keep the clay glued to the actual charm. So we need this as well, and then we also need our tools. So we have our blades that we're going to need. So we have our flat back blade, and this is good to do straight cuts with your clay, and you can also use the back of your clay to make the lines and everything for the door. So we're going to use this as well. And then we have our very, very sharp cutting tool that we can use to cut our clay and do different textures. And then we have our pointy tool. This is great for moss and different textures as well. And if you want to get into certain lines and stuff like that, this will help. So we have this as well. And then we have our dotting tools. Two different sizes on there, so you can do one for the door handle, and then you can do one for different textures to the door or to the wood and stuff like that. So we have that as well. And of course we have our blending tools, just to blend everything in nicely. Alright, so other than that, that is all our tools that we need. Now, just a reminder, whenever you're whenever you're using blades, please be extra careful. They are extremely sharp and they will cut you. So whenever you're using these for your artwork or for crafting and anything else, just keep in mind how sharp they are and just be extra safe. Alright, now we got that out of the way, let's get started crafting. Alright, so what I like to do is, before I make anything with my bezel charms, especially the ones with clay, I make a base with any type of scrap clay or any type of clay I find around, and I place the bezel charm on top of that clay. So it gives me a sturdy base on to how to start and create my charm. So now what I'm doing is I'm making sure the clay that I would like, which is the green clay, fits inside the bezel charm properly. Make sure it's not too overflowing over top, make sure it fits in there right, make sure it's all smooth and pretty. And then after that I take it out and I use liquid clay. I prefer the translucent because sometimes I put too much and it flops over on the other side and it's all messy, and it's just easier to kind of hide it with the translucent. So once you put it inside the bezel charm, use whatever tool works for you. I like to use my blending tool, and just make sure you put it all the way to all the sides. So then you know your charm is nice and secure. Now, if you don't have a bezel charm, you can easily just use a cookie cutter and cut out a circle and make your own charm that way. You do not have to have a bezel charm to make a cute little Hobbit Door charm. This is just the way I prefer it, because then I can wear it and have it on a keychain and stuff like that. But anyways, so after you're done putting the liquid clay in and you put your clay inside, make sure the clay touches all the sides so it's nice and even and there's not going to be any bubbles or anything like that. And also make sure your charm is cat hair free, because, well, I have 2 cats here and cat hair gets everywhere. So what I did was I went and cleaned it up off screen so I can make sure it's nice and neat and clean. And then after we're done doing that and the charm is shaped the way you want it and there's no air bubbles and stuff like that, you can use your flat blade, and I like to use the back of the flat blade. And what I do is I push it until it hits the middle part of the charm. Now if you don't have a bezel charm to use it, don't push it all the way in, just maybe halfway, and that should be fine. Another cat hair got onto the charm. So many cat hairs. Alright, so once we're done all that, what you can do is you can use your pointy tool or your blade or whatever works for you, or even a toothpick. If you don't have a pointy tool, you can use a toothpick. And go through the lines and make sure they're all defined the way you want it. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to use the pointy tool or toothpick or whatever tool you have, and we're going to do the grain effect on the wood. So you can do any type of design you want. I like to do the one that almost looks like waves throughout the wood. And even while you're working on your charm, you can do as many textures and everything on this Hobbit Door, because this Hobbit Door is your happy little Hobbit Door, so you can do whatever the heck you want with it. So just make sure it's all defined in there, because we're gonna have a lot of color going through this. And once your charm is to the way you like it, put it aside and we're gonna start doing the wood for the door. So what I like to do is have a cute little piece of wood that wraps around the door. So what we're gonna do is you can pick as many types of browns as you want. I like these 2 colors together is because, well, they're the only color of browns that I have, so it works. So I'm gonna roll it out, and then when you roll it out, you're going to put it together and you're gonna twisty twist. And when you twisty twist, you're going to roll it. And you're going to keep on doing this until it is the design that you want. Now, the thing is, you can't do it too much, because if you do it too much, you will just blend it all in together. So what you're going to have to do is keep an eye on the way you like it, twist it even while you're rolling it, and you can get many different effects. You can even cut it in half and stuff like that as well, and there's more effects inside the clay. Now, the best way to get an even thickness is to use a piece of paper or a thin Bristol board that you can cut up to a size that you like, and you can roll your clay onto that. It gives it more friction onto the clay, so you're able to get the evenness that you want. And then after you get all of that, you can now start designing the way you want the piece of wood onto the clay. And if it's too much, just cut off the extra. And then once again, if it's not the right thickness, get your piece of paper out and keep on rolling until you can figure out the design and the thickness that you want. So I was struggling hard with this until I found the design that I wanted, and I am in love with this design. And so once you figure out your design and you have the thickness that you want, you just easily just wrap it around the charm. Try to make sure it's connected to the clay as well. If you're having problems where it's not sticking properly, use a little bit of liquid clay and put it onto your bezel. So then when you put your brown clay on there, it will stick to that and it will give it more of a security on there as well. And like I said before, the best part about these charms is you can do whatever you want. You don't have to do the design that I'm doing if it doesn't work for you. You can pick whatever you want. You can even draw it out before you even do it. For me, I did not plan anything on this charm. I kept on trying until I really liked the look of it. And that was pretty much it for me. Like, do whatever works for you, and then you can make your happy little Hobbit door. But once you have your piece of wood or log wrapped around your charm, the next part is the fun part, and that is to decorate. So what I like to do here, and I just started doing this, and I think it's a really neat idea, especially if you're doing a lot of moss or textures, is I like to call it my little clay paint palette. So with all the colors that you have, and if you have a piece of glass in front of you, or whatever working tool or working spot you have in front of you, you grab your clay and you smear it on to that work surface. Because once you smear it and you make it thin enough, you can use your dotting tool and you can scrape along the clay and have it a perfect texture on your dot or your pointy tool, and you can easily put it on to your charm. So as you can see here, I'm scraping along with the green clay, and it's all kind of chunky and messed up words today. A little bit of a struggle. So once you put it onto your charm, you can easily just go and you can poke it around and make it like the texture of moss. And you can use any colors you want. And pretty much puts on some relaxing music and just go to town. Get out of your head. Stop worrying about the craziness that is going on out in the world now with everything that's going on, and just have some relaxing music going on and have fun decorating your Hobbit door. And it can be crazy relaxing. So you get a bit of green, get a bit of yellow, pink, purple, blues, oranges, whatever colors you like, and just have fun decorating your door. Now what I'm doing is I'm making some grooves and stuff inside the wood to kind of give it a little bit more of a wood-like feel. You're also going to see me pretending to open a door because I was trying to figure out where the door knob needs to go. So you use your fat part of your dotting tool to make a nice little indent for the door knob so it can fit in there nice and properly. And then you use a small part of your dotting tool to kind of make the knots of the door. And it's up to you if you want to do it, but you can put a little bit of clay inside the knots to kind of just give it a little bit more color and definition to your door. The best part about this as well is you don't have to just add moss. You can add little flowers to your door. You can add little mushrooms to your door. You can add a window to your door. You can do pretty much anything you want. So like I said, even if you're drawing it out with what you want to do, just pretty much let your imagination go wild and just have a lot of fun with it. Remember, these are happy little Hobbit doors. Alright, at this point I kind of realized I never actually textured the wood. So what you can do is you can go on the brown clay and you can texture it like kind of like the stumps that you see out in nature. So a little bit of scratches here and there, a little bit of holes in it, anything you want, and then anything that works with your door. If you do the little holes and stuff, you can even grab some of your colored clay and put it inside the hole like I'm doing right now. You can even texture the little loops that I've done on the door to make it look like it's decaying on top of the door and stuff like that. So it's really all up to you. As long as you do a little bit of texture here and there to make it look like actual wood, that's all you need to do. Now that the texture of the wood and everything is all done, we're going to put our doorknob, actually we're going to take the clay that's stuck off my finger first. Then we're going to make the doorknob. I now realize the doorknob is too small, so we make it a little bit bigger. And once the doorknob is all done, you can finish up the rest of your decoration. Make sure everything is exactly the way you want it. And then once everything is all done and all the colors are on there and the door is looking absolutely perfect, the next step is to bake. So bake to your instructions of your clay. I use Sculpey. They say to bake at 275. I actually bake at 270. At 270 because it just works best with my stove. So just go with the instructions of your clay or do what is best with your stove or whatever you use to bake your clay. And then once that is all done and cooled, we can go on to the next step. Alright, so my charm is all baked and nicely cooled down. So the next step is to glaze. Now it's up to you if you want to glaze it. You don't need to glaze it. You can leave it just like that. But what I like to do is glaze the door, and I'm also planning on glazing the wood as well. So I'm using the UV resin from Sophie and Toffee. And you don't need too much, just a little dabby dab. And just use your brush or whatever you have and use whatever glaze you like for your charm, or like I said, you can leave it matte and don't have to glaze it at all. And once I put the UV resin on there and make sure it doesn't get on my fingers, what I like to do is put it under my UV light for about 5 to 10 minutes. until it's completely cured. Now, if you have UV resin, but you don't have a light, you can also use the sun. We're getting it a lot lately here in Canada, which is a little odd around this time. So you can also use the sun and whatever else works for you as well, or you can just use regular glaze. So now the charm is nicely glazed and all shiny, and we are done. So I've glazed the wood as well. I did not glaze the moss. I did the door handle, and the wood, and made sure it was all secure on top of the bezel. Now the really neat thing about this, like I said, is you can use any colors that you want. So I have a red and black door, and I have also a peacock pearl door as well, and they all have different designs. I have one with heart design, I have one with just the wood kind of decaying on it. Anything works. So you can do whatever charm that you want, whatever colors that you want, and just have a lot of fun with it. But that's it, guys. That is everything here. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you really like it, please press the like button. If you want to see more of these videos, please press the subscribe button, and also make sure your notification bell is always turned on. And guys, please, please, please be safe out there. It's just absolutely crazy out there. If you don't need to go out, please stay inside. And if you do, just make sure you're safe and keep a good distance from people. Anyways, guys, that is it for today, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye!